Tonight's story is about a man who went into the woods, and something came back with him. Not an animal. Not a person. Something that could copy his voice, perfectly. And 3 days later, it was inside his house. This happened in the summer of 2022. Mike was 26 years old. He had done solo hiking trips before, nothing too extreme, but enough to feel confident. He liked the silence, the isolation, the feeling of being completely cut off from everything. That summer, he decided to go deeper than he ever had before. The Pacific Northwest is beautiful, but it's also unforgiving. Endless trees, thick undergrowth, trails that disappear if you're not paying attention. You can walk for hours and not see another human being. Mike hiked 8 miles off the main trail. 8 miles. That's far enough that if something goes wrong, you're on your own. He found a small clearing next to a narrow stream. The water was clear, running over smooth stones. The trees around him were tall and dense, blocking out most of the sunlight. It was quiet. Too quiet. No birds. No insects. Just the sound of water moving. He set up his tent, ate a small meal, and settled in for the night. At first, everything felt normal. Calm, even peaceful. But sometime after midnight, the silence started to feel different. He woke up suddenly around 2 a.m. At first, he didn't know why. Then he heard it. Branches snapping. Not small twigs. Heavy branches. Something big was moving through the trees. He lay still, listening. The sound wasn't random. It was deliberate. Slow. Measured. Crunch, snap, pause. Crunch, snap. Mike grabbed his flashlight and sat up. "Hello?" he called out. Nothing. No response. The forest went completely silent again. And then, a voice. Soft at first. "Mike." He froze. "Mike, come here, honey." It was his mom's voice. Exactly his mom's voice. Same tone. Same warmth. The same way she used to call him when he was a kid. But that didn't make sense. His mom lived in California. 2,000 miles away. There was no possible way she could be here. He didn't answer. The voice came again. Closer this time. "Mike, it's okay, come here." His heart started pounding. Every instinct told him something was wrong. He pulled the zipper of the tent tighter and turned off the flashlight, hoping whatever it was would go away. Minutes passed. Then he heard footsteps. Right outside the tent. Slow. Careful. Circling. And then, silence again. Mike tried to convince himself it was just his imagination. Maybe the isolation was getting to him. Maybe it was just an animal, and his brain was filling in the rest. He closed his eyes. Tried to sleep. And then, he heard the zipper. Very slowly. It began to open. From the outside. A soft, dragging sound as it moved inch by inch. Mike's eyes shot open. He grabbed the flashlight and pointed it directly at the entrance. Nothing. No hand. No shape. No movement. But the zipper kept sliding. He scrambled forward and yanked it shut. His hands were shaking. He didn't sleep for the rest of the night. He just sat there, knife in hand, staring at the entrance of the tent, waiting for something, anything, to happen again. But nothing did. When the first light of dawn came through the trees, he didn't waste a second. He packed up everything as fast as he could. No breakfast. No hesitation. He just needed to leave. The hike back to his car was about 6 hours. He started walking. At first, everything felt normal again. The forest had sound now. Birds. Wind. The usual noises. And for a moment, he thought maybe he had imagined everything. Until he stopped to rest. And heard footsteps behind him. Not random. Not distant. Right behind him. Matching his pace. He froze. The footsteps stopped. He turned around. Nothing. Just trees. He waited. Silence. He started walking again. The footsteps returned. Exactly in sync with him. If he walked faster, they walked faster. If he slowed down, they slowed down. If he stopped, they stopped. His breathing got heavier. He turned around again. Nothing. But now, it felt closer. Like something was just out of sight. Watching. Following. By the afternoon, exhaustion was setting in. His legs hurt. His head was spinning. To calm himself down, he started talking out loud. Just keep moving, you're almost there, just keep going. His voice sounded small in the open forest. And then, he heard it again. Behind him. Repeating his words. Just keep moving, you're almost there. It was his voice. Exactly his voice. Same tone. Same rhythm. But it was coming from about 20 yards behind him. Mike stopped dead in his tracks. The voice stopped too. For a second, everything went quiet. And then, it laughed. His laugh. But twisted. Wrong. He didn't think anymore. He ran. As fast as he could. Branches hit his face. His feet slipped on uneven ground. He didn't care. Behind him, he could hear it running too. Matching him. Closer. Closer. And still laughing. By the time he reached the parking area, the sun was starting to set. He practically threw himself into his car, slammed the door, and locked it. His hands were shaking so badly he almost dropped the keys. He started the engine and hit the gas. As he pulled away, he looked in the rearview mirror. And that's when he saw it. Standing at the edge of the trees. Tall. Too tall. Thin, unnaturally thin. It wasn't moving. It was just standing there. Watching him. Even as he drove away, it didn't move. It just watched. Mike didn't stop driving until he was far away from the forest. Back on normal roads. Back where there were people. He made it home late that night. Locked every door. Checked every window. And for the first time since it started, he felt safe. Or at least, he thought he was. For 2 days, nothing happened. He tried to move on. Tried to convince himself it was stress, exhaustion, fear. Something explainable. But on the third night, he woke up suddenly. 3 a.m. Exactly. The room was dark. Silent. And then, he heard it. A whisper. Coming from inside his closet. Mike. His blood ran cold. He slowly turned his head toward the closet door. It was slightly open. Just a crack. And from inside, his voice. Soft. Calm. Wrong. I'm home now. Mike didn't move. Didn't breathe. He just lay there, staring at the closet. The door didn't open any further. Nothing came out. But he knew. Whatever was in the woods hadn't stayed there. He hasn't slept with the lights off since. And he says sometimes, late at night, when the house is completely quiet, he still hears it. Repeating him. Mimicking him. Waiting. So if you ever hear a voice in the woods, calling your name, and it sounds like someone you love, or worse, sounds exactly like you, don't answer. Because some things out there don't just watch. They learn. And once they know your voice, they don't need the woods anymore. They follow you home. If this story gave you even a little chill, then you already know why people say the woods aren't as empty as they seem. And honestly, stories like this make you wonder, how many things are out there, just watching, waiting, learning. If you enjoy these kinds of real horror stories, make sure you hit like so I know to keep bringing you more. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell, because I post stories like this regularly, and trust me, they only get darker. Also, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something strange in the woods, or heard a voice that didn't feel right? Drop your story in the comments. I read all of them, and some of the best ones might even be featured in the next video. Until then, stay safe. And remember, not everything that calls your name wants to be found.